So if you think AI is going to slow down, think again.
If we can keep this rate of improvement or even increase it, like that system will be quite capable of doing a lot of things.
And we are going to use that to our advantage. If you have any sort of idea in your head that you want to put out into the world, now is the time to do so. In the last video, we created a prototype using AI, a script editor for creators supported by AI. Now, let's actually get into Cursor, our AI coding assistant, and upload our application into the cloud. The catch? Well, we want to do it in less than 10 minutes. So let's get into it. But before we jump into Cursor, I'm going to take a minute to explain what's actually happening in the development world, right? So things are changing and we have to address it. So we as humans used to go into our IDE, which is something like simply a text editor, basically, to program your code. The code turns into a product, right? Now things are changing. We as humans now use our natural language to describe whatever we want to have built. And then we go to something like our new type of IDE, which is Cursor or Sad or Bold or something. And we combine it with an LLM, something like Claude, which turns into code and then into products, right? For the most complex stuff, we can use O1 Preview, which is like a reasoning model, which simply takes multiple steps between giving the result. So it's iterating on its own answers. And then for front-end stuff, we can use something like V0, just like in the last video we've done. If you think about it, we are actually evolving in the software world pretty fast right now. We started with binary code, right? Simply zeros and ones, turn on or turn off, right? And then we moved to something like assembly code. We moved on to high-level languages like C and Fortran and so on. Currently, we're using Python and JS code, but what this really is evolving to is, well, us simply describing whatever we want to have built, right? And I actually think in the future, like it's not far away to have the AI build whole, not only applications, but actually whole businesses and operate it by itself. That's a bigger question for another video, right? We have to think about regulation for that and how fast these things are actually going to come. But this is where we're at. So if you're completely new to this game, as I was, you need to install two things. One is nodejs.org, right? Simply go to the URL, it's probably in the description, and download the thing. You're gonna install it on your system, done. The next thing is Cursor, which is the more exciting part, right? This allows you to basically edit your code with the help of AI in a very nice and magical way. So get that. There's a free tier, there's also a free trial. I'm on the pro plan, but I'm not affiliated with them. All right, so let's put the timer on. I am now in my Cursor editor, right? And I'm gonna simply open a folder. I probably have something here. Let's create a new folder for this. YouTube script editor or something, right? I'm gonna open it and now I'm inside my folder. Now, if you hit Command and L, you are going to see the chat interface, right? And in here, you can decide which LLM you want to use. I'm going to make it a bit bigger so you can actually see. Currently, I'm using Claude 3.5 Sonnet. The 1020, the naming convention is horrible here, but you get what I'm talking about, right? This one I'm currently using, and I highly recommend using it because it's so good. And to show you that I really don't know what I'm doing here, we're going to ask Perplexity on how to best create a Next.js app. So Next.js is basically just a framework we're going to use. It's a React-based framework. So what's the best way to create a Next.js project? It's hopefully going to give me a good answer. I expected exactly this one. So I'm going to take that. And you can hit Command and J to open the terminal at the bottom. And I'm simply going to paste that in. I'm going to hit enter, right? So it's asking me to a package. Yeah, I'm going to hit Y. What is your project named? Let's call it YouTube script editor. Would you like to use TypeScript? I don't know how to use TypeScript, so I'm going to hit no. Would you like to use ESLint? Yes. Tailwind, yes. Source directly, no. App router, okay, let's do it. TurboPack, no. No. Okay, there we go. And honestly, like some of that stuff I don't really know to this day on how to use, right? So now it's going ahead and installing everything. While it's installing something, we can actually go ahead and I'm going to show you something really cool, specifically for Cursor, right? So if you go to cursor.directory, this is a directory with Cursor prompts, right? System prompts, basically. So that's really, really helpful. If I search for Next.js, I can open these up. So I'm simply going to copy the first one I find here. And then inside my folder, I'm going to create a new file called Cursor rules. And I'm going to paste that prompt in there. And what's going to happen is Cursor is going to insert that prompt for every question we have towards the LLM, right? So it's basically framing everything using that prompt. And you can simply adjust that to your needs, right? You're thoughtful, give nuanced answers, and are brilliant at reasoning, factual. So for now, I'm going to leave that as is. Now that we actually installed everything, right? It says success down here. I am going to reopen the folder, right? Just to make sure we're in the right path. And then I'm going to hit Command L and Command J to open the terminal. I'm going to put it into a split view. And now I'm basically ready to go. Now we have a bunch of code in here and a bunch of files. We can ignore most of it for now, just for the purpose of this video, right? But we have a page in here. So it probably means that the application is already ready to be run. And what you can do is you can either do it yourself, but I'm actually gonna ask it, hey, help me run my Next.js app on a local server. And hopefully what this does is it will give me the right prompt, right? So right here, npm run.dev is probably the correct one. And if I hit run right here, you can see that it actually started a local development server. Now, if I open that, we can see this is our actual Next.js application, right? And if I change something here, what can I change? Maybe this one. Maybe I'm simply gonna say exactly YouTube script editor, right? There we go. And now you might say, well, Marvin, how do we actually get our front-end code we developed last time into our new application? Well, I'm gonna show you right now. So if we go to our v0.dev, this is our application, right? And we want to put it into our development server. Now you can either click on the code and simply copy and paste and try to figure it out yourself. But what we are going to do is we're going to add it to the code base by copying this command right here. And I'm going to go to my terminal. That's why I opened two of them. And now I can simply paste in that prompt, and I click yes to proceed, and I am going to create a components file, and I'm going to choose gray. Would you like to use CSS variables? Yes, why not? 19, use legacy, whatever. Okay, use force. So it seems like it worked. Now I can see there's a new components folder, and I can see we have a UI folder with all the UI, and we have a script editor file, right? So now how do we actually see that page? What's the fastest way to do so? Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say, hey, help me put this on the home page. And I'm going to hit Command Enter, because that way it's going to read a multiple of my files. And it realized that we needed to modify our page.js, right? And I'm simply going to do exactly that. So it deleted a bunch of code. I'm going to accept that. It's really short now. Make sure your script editor file is properly placed. Yeah, that's fine, I think. We already installed everything, so let's see if it actually worked. There we go. All right. So We now have our application locally on our server, and that's pretty sick. So I'm pretty sure this took us less than 10 minutes and we already have our application, which is not done yet. We're actually going to upload it into the cloud because we want to have it on our own domain, right? So let's give this a try. What we need to do for this to work is we first need a Git account, like a GitHub account. We need to upload the code there, and we're going to use a service called Vercel to actually host it on the cloud for free for now, right? So let's get into it. I'm going to use AI to help me with that. So help me upload my app to Vercel using GitHub. So let's see what it does. It's asking me to initiate. It's going to add all the files, blah, blah, blah. Your GitHub repo. All right. Once you registered with your GitHub account, you can create a new Git repository, and I'm going to call that YouTube script editor. I'm actually going to keep this public so you can download it if you want to. I'm simply going to create the repository. So now you can go ahead and simply copy this whole command, paste it, and we should be pretty much done, right? We have our code with a README file inside of GitHub. Now let's put it onto Vercel, right? So once you created your Vercel account on vercel.com, you can click Add New. Gonna click a new project, and I'm gonna simply, now I see it, now I click import. It's Next.js, root, deploy. Now it's gonna take 2 or 3 minutes. So this is actually good. So what happened is when I tried to deploy this, it gave me a bunch of errors, right? It wasn't able to build the project. So I went ahead and tried to type in npm install to install all the packages, and it gave me another error, right? And it actually tells me like, oh, this package is out of date and blah, 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 and it's conflicting. And what I did then is I actually debugged it with AI, and it gave me these instructions. So I'm gonna simply run them and see what happens. So it uninstalled and then installed things, and now it seems to have worked, right? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna click, hit git add dot, git commit, new dependencies, whatever. I don't care about spelling right now. Git push it is the one. So we pushed it, and we're going to reload that page. Let's see, and we're going to try and deploy it again. And we can actually see that my comment is down here. So it's the actual commit we're deploying. So it seems like we're done. We have our application on a server, online, so you can actually show it to friends, right? So if I click this link right here, you can see our application running perfectly fine, which is crazy to see how fast we can actually build this. Great, so now you do understand how to actually create the prototype, right? The front end for the prototype. You now understand how to create a full project out of it, run it on a local server, and then actually deploy it into the cloud using Vercel and GitHub, right? But we're not done yet. In the next video, we're actually going to hook it up with an LLM to make this magic thing work.